Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today at your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about modern concepts of humiliation, and we're talking more group humiliation here, and it can be individual, but I'm going to be putting more emphasis on the group level of humiliation. So let's have a look at the different types of humiliation. It can be the humiliation from somebody falls over in the street and exposing their underwear, or so, they can be those sorts of things. But I'm talking about something more sort of planned and used with the backing of state power or power of organizational power to achieve a humiliation of a group, and a group that somehow threatens the group that either is in control or wishes to take control. So the globalists, for example, and they're hell-bent on taking control. Straight white males, high-achieving straight white males are the primary obstacle, and so they're setting out to undermine, accuse, humiliate, and so on straight white males. That's clearly the objective. So I'm looking at humiliation in that sort of wider context there. Now, I'll go and look at some subsets here. Let's suppose that in the Soviet Union, the communist era, and the communists came in China too, when the communists came in. They wanted particularly to humiliate intellectuals. This was the same with Pol Pot in Cambodia, for example. Humiliation of intellectuals is very much a cornerstone of totalitarian power, and you see it wherever the communists took control. That was one of their key things, to humiliate and render as powerless the intellectuals. Now, the intellectuals, by virtue of their brain power, have a role to play in any society, but not in a totalitarian communist society. Because if you have that sort of brain power, then you can't create, or it's very difficult to create, the socialist outcome. If you're an ideological fanatic, that's fine. But in terms of sheer brain power, the ability to analyse complex issues, that sort of thing, think them through, then that's a threat to any insecure power or insecure power base. So what the communists would do, they would round up the intellectuals on bullshit pretexts. They look sideways on a Sunday, and they'd say that was a crime. And then they'd put them in these prison camps, or sometimes work camps, labour camps, things like that. But in order to absolutely drive home the humiliation, they would put intellectually challenged, super low IQ guards in there, and the guards were meant to micromanage the prisoners and beat them and deny them food on the slightest infraction, or inventing infractions, just arbitrarily determined infractions. And this was designed to humiliate and crush the spirit of these intellectuals. But the humiliation was important. They didn't just have ordinary guards. I think they purposefully picked low IQ morons, who were vindictive as well, to be the guards, and people who would, you could gin them up and say, see those people in the prison there, they've always treated you as an idiot. All those people that treated you like you're an idiot because they've got a low IQ, retarded even prison guard. These people, how bad they've treated you. Yeah, well, now you can get back at them. Now you can stick it up. Now you can shove it up. And now you can get your revenge, and we'll let you do it. That sort of thing. And so the purpose was to humiliate these people. Now, it's also in a business situation. There's I remember and I've seen this more than once, but here's one that's sort of most vivid in my memory. It was a company I was working at, and quite a big firm, like many thousands of employees. And there was one of the quite senior sort of VP level type dudes, I guess you'd call him, and he was very proficient at his job, and he was a sort of person that could pick up, his analytical powers were. I was quite, I admired him. I thought he was a pretty smart dude, but he somehow offended the guys at the apex, and so they decided to want to get rid of him. But when he's not corrupt, he doesn't misbehave, he does a good job, he arrives on time, it's not easy to get rid of those sort of people. So one of the things they did, and I've seen this sort of same format a number of times, is they pick some sort of feral, low IQ, almost animal-like young woman, and then they primed her and said, okay, go and accuse him, go and tell, he thinks you're an idiot. Yes, he does. He thinks you're an idiot. He hates you. He tells us every day how much he hates you and how stupid he thinks you are. This is, of course, all lies. This is just to gin her up and get her salivating. And so why don't you accuse him of this or say that to him? You try and get him to say something bad to you, and then you can come and tell us what he said. Go on, go and get him. That sort of thing. Now it's a so in this case, she marches up to him in like a bullpen type thing when he's there, and starts on him. You said this, and he sort of looks around a little surprised. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And then you did this. And then what are you going to say for yourself? Yeah. Getting right in his face. Again, all made up shit. But the idea was that it would be humiliating for someone as junior as her and as feral as her and as stupid as her. She definitely was stupid, to be having having a public spat with this guy. I'm watching from 3 or 4 desks away, and I'm seeing, and I'm pretty sure what's happened. I can pretty much figure how that whole thing got together, and confirmed it shortly thereafter. But it was deliberate provocation, and the provocation was meant to also include humiliation. So they've got this moronic, feral creature of a young woman, and they're trying to get her to give him a public dressing down in front of everybody, and that humiliation, but also to try and get him to say something, like, why don't you fuck off, you stupid bimbo, something like that. And so then they go, there you go, misogynist, we got to get rid of this guy. So there was a setup there, but they purposely targeted this guy, not because he was doing something wrong. It's because he had a confidence and a power that they resented or felt threatened them. That was the thing, which is the same as the communist thing. Now, there's other things where people just get off on humiliating others. I remember this is in primary school. There was a teacher who I look back now. I mean, she was a kid. I didn't realize this, but she was a butch dyke lesbian, and hated the society, and she was this is primary school. So the kid was in my class, and I mean, she would pick on this boy. They were all white kids back in the day, but would pick on this boy and try and humiliate in front of the class. She was constantly doing it, and I wondered why. Even as a kid, I wondered, why would you do this to someone who's 8 years old or something? And the kid was very good. He probably was one of the brightest kids in the class, and somehow that offended her. Somehow it got up her nose. About 8 years old, 9 years old, around there, I think it was. And there's one particular episode I remember. This is, again, public humiliation thing, where I think it was arts and crafts. He was doing something or other, and I can't remember. She wanted to hold him up as some object of ridicule in the class. So he had some arts and craft thing in his hand, I think it was, and so she grabbed him and said, "Look, everybody, look what this silly boy has done." And the kid must have spotted it coming, and he wouldn't let. She was pulling at his hand to try and hold his hand up so he could be this object of ridicule. And he grabbed on with the other hand and hung on. She fucking dragged him off the chair and across the floor. This kid, just so she could hold, and actually was holding him up, like lifting him, the whole kid, off the ground, with him hanging on to the other hand, just so she could do this thing of ridicule. And he was a kid, like 8 or 9 years old. I thought, that's not right. That is not proper or acceptable behaviour. That's someone who's really fucked up, acting out their strange delusional fantasies. But we can look at humiliation in another way. There was a recent election not that long ago in Australia, and the candidates that the major political parties selected were this low, feral, creature from, whose her only skill could be, working as on the checkout at some low-paid retail shop or something like. Yeah, she sounds and feral. I mean, if her IQ's 100, I'd be surprised. And that's the candidate. Now, the inside buzz is they think that somebody that feral and stupid will have a better chance of identifying with the voters than someone who's more capable and has a more brain power and looks the part, sounds the part, and so on. So the other party then decided, the other major political party then decided to try and outwoke them and say, okay, we'll get a moron woman who's black and handicapped. Yeah, there you go. So this is the sort of the standard, if you like, of political chicanery and discourse here. Now, to me, that's humiliating. I want the best qualified people to represent the country in Parliament. So they've got to make all sorts of decisions and debate all sorts of quite complex issues. So I want people who are bright, hardworking, very committed to the citizenry and to the nation and to improving all our lives, and doing so with above average capacity for not only brain power but hard work and dedication. That they're not corrupt and so on. That's what I want, and I find it. I don't know what I call it, humiliating, embarrassing, certainly, and possibly humiliating to have such low quality people serving in Parliament. Now, I've known, over the years, I've met a lot of politicians, and some of them are. You could say they're not very bright, but at least they're very dedicated and they're very focused on serving the citizenry and serving the needs and improving our lives, or the lives of the citizens. And they try very hard to do that, even though they not all may be brilliant or clever or above average even. But today it's different. Not only are we getting the lowest quality, but they don't give a shit either. But to me, that's embarrassing when I meet, politicians. I mean, some of them I've met are so embarrassing. It exceeds cringe, and I feel humiliated by that. That these are the leaders of our country. I think that's humiliating. That's my view, of course. And I see the same thing with, Ocasio-Cortez in the United States, and Rashida Tlaib and Ayanna Pressley and Ilhan Omar and Mazie Hirono and all these people in the United States federal government who are cringeworthy stupid, and they're there as just activists. My take on it is the globalists want people that stupid and that moronic. And clearly so, manifestly so, because it humiliates the country. When those are your leaders, then you're all humiliated by such low caliber people. And to me, that's an example of how you humiliate an entire nation state. You put morons in charge. And we look at the case of the British Isles, where the Scottish First Minister is he's no genius. He's a Pakistani Muslim, and they've put him in charge of. It's a homosexual Indian guy's in charge of Ireland. An Indian national who has an Indian national wife, and has, in my view, no achievements to his credit, has been installed by the globalists as Prime Minister of Britain, an Indian guy. So this to me is all part of a humiliation process. So wherever the globalists sort of see a strong culture and a self-confident culture, a self-assured culture, a capable, high-achieving culture, then they have to attack it and humiliate it. And this is one of the ways they do it. Now, I remember as a kid, sort of in school, that girls were sort of quite big on sort of moral, social humiliation of each other, and if they could, of boys. I sort of noted it and didn't really think much about it. I thought, oh, well, that's just how things are, and didn't really go much beyond that. And I noticed it growing up as a young man, sort of with girlfriends and work colleagues, whatever. If girls didn't get their own way or didn't get the deference that they thought they were entitled to, they would quickly go down this path of trying to do this, socio-moral sort of humiliation thing. They did it to each other, of course, as well as to boys, and that's something that, I thought, well, is that just how girls are? And again, I didn't sort of think much about it. Now, recently we were doing, we had quite a lot of work. This is in the business I own, or part own. We're doing quite a lot of work for a company that increasingly was being, woke. That was installing woke in all facets of their business, and the people we're having to deal with were if they weren't young women, they were gay, and young men, or the competent people that were there when we first started doing business with them all seemed to go, and the competent people were all straight white males, but they were being replaced with far less competent, again, young men and women, gay, lesbian, black, and the whole super woke. And this probably reflects the fact that they in turn were getting more and more government business that was making up a bigger proportion. And when you don't need to be good and provide good quality goods and services, then you can have lesser quality people, which we're seeing, of course, in Western governments. The lowering of the quality of the people in the parliaments is like, fuck. A lot of people say, well, look at it, 50 years ago, only 5% of the parliamentarians had college degrees. Now 75% of college degrees. Wow. Well, what a super well-educated political class we have. But they're not well-educated at all. Firstly, they're all affirmative action, low standards education. Most of them have got fucking gender studies degrees anyway. So this idea that they're better educated is absolute utter nonsense. But coming back to this business, we noticed the lowering of the quality of people. At the same time as the quality of people was being lowered, we were being pestered continuously to send our employees to various woke work groups or work sessions or struggle sessions, whatever they call them, to do, to be anti-racist and anti-misogynist and anti-this and so and so that. And, all very woke, all very Marxist, and all very ideological nonsense. So we... And they've got some huge, overweight, snot-nosed, tooty young black girl with an IQ of 90. And you walk in the room and she's telling you how evil and bad you are because you're straight white males. I mean, that in itself is humiliation. That is deliberate humiliation of the people in the room. All the people in the room, the men are all smarter than her, who have achieved things in their own right, and yet they're forced to sit there and listen to this blabbering moron, and that is a form of humiliation, certainly in my view. I mean, I'd be interested to see your comments below there, but we've sort of managed to work around this, where we firstly, they're very reluctant to write these things, having to attend these sessions into the contract. They try and shoehorn it into saying it's really a health and safety issue, and everyone has to do the health and safety before you can work on the site. So they try and deceitfully, shove this diversity, equity, and inclusion crap into the health and safety issue. So we've managed to get around this by saying that we can send our health and safety diversity representative to the thing, but they insist everybody is going to work on the project, even if they don't even come on site, by the way. Everyone's going to work on the project, must attend this. So we say, okay, if you want to write that into the contract, and they never do, they always present it arbitrarily later on and vaguely say, oh, it's our policy and you can't start work unless you've done it. So again, we asked, well, where does it say that in the contract? And it doesn't. Or where is it in your written policy documents of your company policy? It's not there either. So they're just trying it on. It's all bluff and threats. So we won't, we won't put up with that sort of nonsense. But what I do say, or what we do say, is that, look, we've got 50 people, 100 people, and we say a number much higher than it really is. We've got 100 people working on this project, and they all have to attend, but our rate for them to attend is $500 an hour each. So it's going to cost well over $100,000 for our team to attend, which you're going to have to pay for, and we're going to invoice you for for payment, prepayment. And so they always go away. Oh well, but they do so quite resentfully. You can see the dark looks and the dark mutterings as they walk away. But we're being presented with this by this young, snot-nosed, low IQ ideological fanatics that are doing it. A bit like the parallel I see is the prison camp guards in the Soviet communist system that were deliberately sent there to humiliate the intellectuals. So I see it sort of in that, not the exact same thing, but pretty much. It's very ideological. It's along those lines. And particularly we're targeted because we're straight white males. So anyway, we're able to avoid that, and we also have diversity officers can attend. Yeah, that's okay. And so we don't have a diversity officer, so we get somebody on $30 an hour or $40 an hour, and they attend these sessions, and we get paid $500 an hour for it. So if that's what they want to do, fine, we go along with that. But recently, this outfit, and it's become harder and harder to do business with them because they keep on adding, oh, you have to attend this anti-misogyny thing or anti-Nazi or anti-white supremacy. And they dream up all these fucking bullshit things, and they keep pressuring us to attend them. And again, arbitrarily, they refuse to put it in the contract, and we invite them to do it. You want to put that into our contract, business to business contract. And I don't want to do it. So anyway, they keep on pestering us on that, and it's got to the point where I'd rate it as harassment. It's no longer a sensible business request, politely phrased or anything like that. It's got to the point where it's now harassment by these snot-nosed little shitheads that are just ideological fanatics. Come straight out of their gender studies class at some third-rate fucking college. So anyway, we've been debating the last probably 6 months now, if not longer. Do we want to even do business with these people? It's getting to be such a pain in the ass. They're not paying the big bucks, so it's kind of marginal from a commercial perspective, and the aggravation perspective means that it's driving us crazy. So we thought we've been thinking about not doing the work. I mean, still money, and so we're a commercial business. But it's not enough money to put up with the heartache. Anyway, a few days ago we got they sent a young LGBTQ guy. We don't know whether he's trans or just plain gay, and we thought it's probably not very prudent to ask. So we just and he's I'm using he. I think it's just a gay guy, but I'm not 100% sure. He was sent to tell us that they weren't going to use us in the future, or they might, but probably wouldn't. And instead of just not, the guy was sent for the sole purpose of putting us in our place, of engaging in this sort of humiliation ritual type thing. You guys just aren't up to scratch. You're just not good enough. We found better. And so anyway, we thought, well, let's, okay, maybe a major competitor's appeared in the, because we don't have that many competitors. It's a very, very, sort of very high intellectual property type niche we're in, and there's hardly a lot of competitors. So we looked at, and they've gone with an organisation that's got a black female lesbian CEO, and it's super off the planet woke. And if they have any expertise in this area, I'd be stunned. So this is the thing, though, and this is about a degradation of a society. They're prepared to accept, not only accept, but give us a moral finger wagging lecture. You're not good enough morally for us. We're morally superior to you, and you're morally inferior, and we're not going to have anything to do with you. We're going to go with these other moral guys, even though they have no expertise. So, like putting a barmaid, New York barmaid, into the federal parliament, in the United States, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the Ilhan Omars and all that sort of stuff. That is a form of humiliation, because these people do not have the credentials or the expertise or the commitment, if you like, to deliver for the nation, and don't see there's any problem with them being two-bit bum activists. And this was the same here. They've gone with an outfit that has no expertise in the area. They've gone with it for ideological reasons, and kind of that's okay with us. Again, the heartache was driving us crazy, but they've done that, and this is how the West is degrading itself. The intention to humiliate the straight white males is or degrade, I suppose you could even call it, is the overriding imperative now. That's the imperative. Delivering quality goods and services, delivering quality government, delivering all the things that make the West rich and powerful and great. Those things don't matter anymore. The issue is we'll destroy all of that. All of the wealth can be destroyed, provided we can crush those straight white males. And that seems to be the driving force of so many things today. You've been a Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.